Hey everybody, it's Clint again, and we're going back to the RPG shelf. Thanks for clicking on this video. If you don't know, this is the channel Intelligence Mod, and we're going to look at a different other book that I have on my shelf and kind of do another quick look. We're going to do another core book, so a whole new system again. Feeling we're going to just burn through more and more of those, and once I run out of ones I own, we'll start going over to some supplements and some extra stuff. So again, I'm going to pull from just wildly different stuff because I just buy things I think is neat. I want to talk about the Dresden Files Role-Playing game, which is based off of a novel series of the exact same name. It is written by Jim Butcher. They're amazing. I think actually if you look behind me over my right shoulder and you zoom in, enhance, you can see that that right there. There's a couple Jim Butcher books, and behind the chair is a large amount of the Dresden Files series. They are based in modern-day Chicago around the main character Harry here, who is a wizard, and he is a private detective. So this is kind of, I'd say it's like Harry Potter, but it's so much better than Harry Potter because it just is. He kind of just deals with different mysteries and whatnot and finding missing people and always blows in this hole. They're a very good mystery novel series. I've read multiple of those books up to 4 times. So if you're looking for a book series to read, Jim Butcher, the Dresden Files series. So this is actually, what's incredibly funny about this is this book is canonically written by a character in the role play in the book. And I'll get into that really quick. But first, I'm going to tell you that this is the first edition of the book. They've only made this one. It's made by Evil Hat Productions. And a couple other things that they make are Atomic Robo, which, when I'm going to look over here, my tagline here that they have, it's action, science, robots, punching, more science. So, super solid. Another series that they have is Fate of Cthulhu, which I actually didn't know that they did. But it's just it's a standalone using their Fate core system, which this is what it uses. This uses the Fate core system as well. Sorry, everybody. But Fate of Cthulhu is a horror-based Lovecraftian mythos kind of story thing. So, like, if that's your bag, go check that out. I feel like I want to pick that up as well. And on the line of the Fate core system, they also make the Fate core system, which is an augmented version of the Fudge system. So you roll d6s and they have blanks, a negative or a plus, and you add that to your skill that you have, and the total number would be your check. So if you rolled the 4 d6s, you got a negative and 2 pluses. That's an overall +1. You have a skill of 4. The total check is a 5. Real simple. So getting back into this, so this is a modern day fantasy horror mystery kind of role-playing game, and it is canonically written by an actual character in the game. In one of the stories, Harry sits down with a bunch of college students that happen to be also werewolves. Read the book. And they play D&D, and they offer him to play, and he actually starts to get into playing Dungeons and Dragons, which is hilarious in its own right. He plays a barbarian, if everyone's wondering, because he didn't want to play a wizard because that sounded too much like work to him. So the funny thing about that is this book would be Bobby trying to write a D&D-esque role-playing game based on their adventures. And so what's funny is technically the book is a first draft. So I'm going to see if I can actually get picture up in here, but so you can see there's highlight marks on it and stuff like that. So down here in the margins is actual notes written to and from the characters about certain different things, like things that are highlighted, and there you can tell by the font and the ink color what characters is written by what, and it's incredibly funny. If you've never even heard of this book and you're a fan of the series, I think there's actually a short story that is only in these that are written by Jim Butcher that are very funny. But it's super hilarious. It's a ride just to read the book, just to read the side columns. So, getting past the weird thing, what kind of game is this? So, it is a cooperative storytelling game. So this is heavy roleplay. And what I like about this is that you actually build your city and your characters all together. Like, it's the only way to really do that. So, to put it very simply, if we're all sitting at a table together and we have and there's me, the game master, and I choose, let's choose down where I am, Tacoma, Washington. We'll say that's going to be our city. And what you all as my players would do, we would work together to pick certain different areas and maybe main NPCs that would be around. Maybe like there's a bar in downtown Tacoma that is run by a red court vampire, or there is a Fae of the Summer Court that runs a strip club up in another part. Maybe possibly the Tacoma Dome, which is our major landmark in our area that is run by different people. So together we would make these different NPCs and whatnot. We'd craft and build the whole city. Now, it wouldn't be everything. Me as the game master, I could do more. I could make more stuff and other things. This is just kind of a really good blank template, and it also helps that now also the players, you all would also know enough about the city that you could just know, like, oh yeah, we shouldn't go to those parts of town. Now, the other thing that I've liked about this, so instead of like most role-playing games, what this joke is, you all meet in a tavern in a shadowy corner of a bar. All of the players, all of you will have something in common knowledge with someone sitting next to you. So if you sat around a table, the person to your left and the person to your right, you'd have a connection to. So if I'm a player, maybe the person to my left, we went to college together. And so that's how we know each other. And the person to my right, let's say they're, trying to think of something, maybe they're a local cop that's in my area, that's my street's their beat kind of thing. And then it just goes around that that would be our connection. So then on his or her right, they'd have another connection that maybe it's their partner, it's another cop. And then over it could be anything. So everybody knows somebody in their little circle, and that's kind of the deal. There are character sheets for the city. Actually, if you kind of I flipped through, I got really lucky and I found it, but there's actually character sheets for the cities for different locations. So all the information I kind of mentioned about how you would go over with here we go. Yeah, it's a little technical character sheet here for a different little city. So right here on here they have Baltimore and whatnot, along with like a character actual sheet. So you really kind of can make kind of whatever you kind of want to make. It's more based on like themes and threats and ideas. It's kind of a bit of an intense kind of game. It's a lot different than D&D or anything, in the sense of it leans more into the telling a story side of it. So you have flaws and boons and whatnot. I have played it once. It is very fun. It's difficult to get a group together to do it, in my opinion. So to me, this is just a disclaimer. I bought this purely because I am a fan of the novels and I wanted to own it, but as just kind of a disclaimer for this or any other role-playing game that's based on like a property, be it Star Wars, Star Trek. This would actually be more for like a TV show or a book series, so like Doctor Who or Game of Thrones. You're gonna have, I thought someone's home. You're gonna have people that know this well. They understand the source material. Like me, I've read all of the books, some of them up to 3 times. I know the source material and I know the characters. If you play you'll have people that know nothing, and so the downside could be is you have either a GM or a player that's like, well, that's not how that works, or didn't that get, so they'll try to pull in the canon of the books into the world and try to make it a thing. So, and then as the GM, it would be very hard not to pull in the titular characters. It'd be really difficult not to just drag Harry Dresden and put him in your role-playing game and do that. So it's just it's an odd thing to me. I always am wary about that kind of stuff, but because you can do this anywhere, you can kind of ignore the canon of the books and try to make everybody have fun. Don't be don't be gatekeepy about it. You don't have to read the books to play this game. They're just good books. So that's just my thought. Really, that's really all I have to do with this little quick one. There is one other book. There's Your Story, and I believe the other volume is called Our Story. And there is a volume 3 called Paranet, which is not really like a monster manual. It's just more information. So basically, this is the, if you want to it, this is the player's handbook. The other one's the Game Master Guide, if you want something to compare them to. But yeah, it's a fun game. If you got a roleplay group and you really want to roleplay a city, because it is fun to play a role-playing game in a modern setting in the city you live in, because you know the city very well. So that's actually a very entertaining thing. So thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions on other books that maybe I should look at, or if you spy books behind me that you want me to talk about that eventually I'll get to, do that. We have a coffee if you want to toss us a couple bucks or whatever to work towards new equipment or whatever, that's fine. If not, like, share, comment on the videos, check out our Facebook and Twitter. I post fairly regularly. My Twitter handle's down here on the bottom at some point. Ring the bell. And, yeah, well, that's all I can think. Wash your hands and support your local game store.